Hello, friend and student. Today I am going to talk about the UNESCO World Heritage City in India, about Dholavira, a Harappan city. This site has been listed as UNESCO World Heritage City in 2021, and UNESCO cites that the ancient city of Dholavira, the southern center of Harappan civilization, is sited on the arid island of Khadir in the state of Gujarat. Occupied between circa 3000 to 1500 BC, the archaeological site, one of the best preserved urban settlements from the period in Southeast Asia, comprises a fortified city and a cemetery. Two seasonal streams provide water, a scarce resource in the region, to the walled city, which comprises a heavily fortified castle and ceremonial ground, as well as street and houses of different proportion, which testify to the stratified social order. A sophisticated water management system demonstrates the ingenuity of the Dholavira people in their struggle to survive and thrive in the harsh environment. The site includes a large cemetery with cenotaphs of six types, testifying to the Hadappans' unique view of death. Beads, processing workshop, and artifacts of various kinds such as copper, shell, stone, jewelry of semi-precious stones, terracotta, gold, ivory, and others. Material have been found during archaeological excavation of the site, exhibiting the culture's artistic and technological achievements. Evidence for inter-regional trade with other Harappan sites as well as with cities in the Mesopotamia region and the Oman Peninsula have also been discovered. This city flourished for nearly 1500 years, representing a long continual habitation and witnessed the origin, growth, and ultimate decline, recording several phases of occupational history labeled as stage 1 to 7. The entire architectural assemblage at Dholavira, together with the landscape, represents a unique and masterpiece ingenuity of the Harappan during the 3rd millennium BC. This site has been listed to UNESCO on the following criteria. That is, there are 6 criteria to list a cultural site, and it actually fulfill 2 criteria. Criteria number 3, that is, Dholavira is an exceptional example of a proto-historic Bronze Age urban settlement pertaining to the Harappan civilization, early, mature, and late Harappan phases, and bears evidence of a multicultural and stratified society during the 3rd and 2nd millennium BC. The earliest evidence can be traced back to 3000 BCE during the early Harappan phase of the Harappan civilization. This city flourished for nearly 1500 years, representing a long continuous habitation. Criteria 4, Dholavira is an outstanding example of Harappan urban planning with its preconceived city planning, multi-layered fortification, sophisticated water reservoir and drainage system, and the extensive use of the stone as a building material. These characteristics reflect the unique position Dholavira held in the entire gamut of Harappan civilization. The ancient Harappan city was discovered in 1968 and excavated for 13 field seasons between 1989 and 2005. The unearthed excavations display all physical attributes contributing the outstanding universal value of the property. The Dholavira site is one among the 5 largest sites uncovered so far. Mohenjo-daro, Harappa and Ganwariwala all in Pakistan, and Rakhigadi in Haryana, and are other 4 sites. It measures 771 meter east-west and 617 meter north-south and covers an area of about 50 hectares. The fortified town had three divisions: Citadel, Middle Town, and Lower Town. Citadel and Middle Town were further provided with separate fortifications. A well planned water harvesting system was created by Dholavirian. And this is the layout plan of the city. This is perfect rectangular, and what you are seeing here, it is a composite actually. It reflects actually the deposit of the 7 stages. In the beginning, it was a very small settlement. That is the dark rectangle in the lower area. That was that citadel part of the city is the earliest one, which was established at the beginning. Then it was made bipartite, and then in the third stage, it was made actually in three division, that citadel, middle town, and lower town. This is the walled area is 50 hectares, and then this was divided in many divisions, and there is this the all the planning follow certain ratios with its length and width, and accordingly most of the structure were laid in their planning. And the city is actually, as you I told you, there are two river, one the Manhar in the south and the Mansar in the north, and the Harappan used these two channels for water harvesting, because this site falls in the semi-arid zone in the western India, and today the rainfall is very meager, only 23 centimeter per annum. These are the massive structure found at the site, and you are looking at the Citadel Mound and the north gate of the Citadel Mound. It is furnished with four gates of different architecture. The western gate is a ramp, the eastern gate is a chamber with a passage, and the northern gate is a passage flanked by two chambers, and the southern gate is a very small, that was for the utilitarian purpose linking to the water body. And the whole architecture is very massive and grand, not found anywhere in the Harappan context, because they are using the stone here. Then you can see the layout of the north gate. It is actually a central passage flanked by two chambers of equal size, and then it was furnished with polished stone pillars, and a big inscription of 10 letter has been found one of the chamber of this gate. This is the interior of the citadel leading to the north gate. There were the lane inside, and even the citadel was divided in 3-4 divisions for the different uses. And there was a systematic plan for the drainage, and there are the citadel to let out the monsoon water, and to out the side the citadel they actually laid a drainage pattern from the east to and from north, and then it is from the west side it is going out. This is all underground covered drain, and it was necessary for the preservation and conservation of the mud walled walls also, because it will the impact that mud. Therefore it was required that the water is actually let out very quickly from the citadel area. Then these are the actual drain when at the site. The huge drain, one man can pass and throw under it, the drain, and this was mostly for the regular cleaning purpose. That time I think it was manual cleaning of all these drains and all the structures. Then between the citadel and the middle town, there is a huge area. We call it the ceremonial ground. It is about 290 meter long from east to west and 47 meter wide. At the bottom of this field. This is the vacant land. We excavated it and found a well prepared rammed earth floor having a series of post hole in rows of post hole. And they were organizing maybe some bazaar, some annual festival. That's why it is known as the Rang Bhumi also. And it is also, this gate is leading from the middle town and the lower town from the east side. This is the actually the design of the this Rang Mahal. It is just actually north of the citadel, and then you have got the stadium area. From east you have got a entry, and this is the profile. There are some sitting arrangement from both the side, from north from that middle town, and from south the citadel. So this is actually a spectre gallery also, and well that rammed floor also. And these are the settlement, the houses along a major street in middle town, and this is the huge area. And we have excavated only a central axis of the mound, and it measures 771 meter. Just towards east of this end of this town, there is the another town, that is lower town, and there also similar structure and street have been found, and all the street are actually linked with there is a drainage along the street which are linked connected with the bathrooms and the kitchen of the houses. And at in front of the all houses there are sillage jars which actually collect all the water, wastewater from the houses, and then that is drained out by the drains which are going leading to the outside of the town. The another important feature of the Dholavira is the rainwater management. There were two channels, one in south, another in north. This is the southern channel, that is Manhar Nala. And in the Kutch region, even today, there are the cloud burst often in the rainy season, and that is sufficient to collect a lot of water in the tank and reservoir. Here you can see a series of reservoirs which are based on the gravity flows. The water actually from the higher contour to lower contour, and they are well planned. The first tank is filled up on the top, and then the overflow is going to next after filtering that, or the all the dust is settled in the bottom of the tank. That's why there are 5 or 6 tank we have excavated, and there are possibility of many more reservoir around the town. This is the citadel, and you can see around the citadel in the east and in the south, you have got a series of the water reservoir, and they were using this reservoir for their all purpose drinking and other, even agriculture also. These are the volume of the tank, huge reservoir, one of the largest one, about 71 meter north south and 30 meter east west. And you can see the staircases, the flight of steps at the corner, they are leading to the bottom of the tank. And we can consider these are the prototype type of the later step wells, which are very popular in the western India, particularly in Gujarat and Rajasthan. And this is another tank in the same series. This is a rock cut reservoir. You can see the beautifully done the staircase, and rock, the available rock is actually scooped out, and all the weak points actually make impervious by putting the masonry wall of the best quality, and these are interconnected with the small outlets or channel in between. Then the citadel also, there is a water management system for the people who are living in the citadel. It is well secured actually, so you can actually draw water from the circular well, which is visible at the top. There is a trough attached to the well, and from that trough they were drawing water by putting some bullock cart or a camel cart to draw the water from the deep well. Then it was emptied in that trough, and then through a channel, underground channel, it was filling the two tanks which are visible in the front of us. And these were actually catering their need for the day. And whenever they were empty, then they were actually again filling. So that is the how they were saving the labor and using only that much water which is needed. So these are the Harappan. They were very meticulous and also preserving all sort of resources and not misusing them. These are the other things from Dhalavira as usual of the Harappan period, which represent the Harappan standard in all of the sites throughout the northwest India and in other regions. And these seals are actually found in the Mesopotamian region also. And because of these seals, we could have been in position to date this culture initially. Now we have got C14 date and other dates, but initially in 1922 24, when there was no other the method to know the date, then these came to the notice of some archaeologists that time, and such seals were found in the Ur in Meso Iraq, and there they were dated that time 2375 BCE. On the basis, it was actually thought that the Harappan culture cannot be later than that also, and these are they play the major role in the Harappan life, maybe in trade or in rituals or in communications. There is a large this inscription which was excavated, exposed in the North Gate, and this is the largest inscription from the Harappan civilization anywhere. Then these are the certain things that the female figurine, terracotta figurine, and these are actually some consider them as a mother goddess, some consider them as a toys, and there may be actually we still are researching people the what would have been the use of such figurines. Then these are the beads, bangles from Dholavira. As usual, these items are found in everywhere in the Harappan cities, in towns, and there is a network of trade to procure these things. And they were actually procuring these beads from the Kalyan, agate, and many things from the Gujarat region. Then lapis was coming from Afghanistan. Similarly, so many stones, cells were coming from the Gulf of Kutch or the Arabian Sea, and so on. So this was a very good network of trade, communication, and people were moving from one region to another, even to Mesopotamia by the sea. And these are the toy plaything for the children. And the Harappan were actually using these the children of that time. They were thing, and you can see the good expression of the animal. They were also very much artistic in their creation. And these are the objects which were of the daily use, that like the copper object with the arrowhead, then chisels, nails, and then we have got the chart blades which were coming from the Shukar Rodi in the Pakistan area. And these are the certain thing we distinguish thing which thing is coming from where, because they were particular or two particular regions. That's why archaeologists actually uh, tie the knot, these things, the links, and then make out from where, which area it is coming and how it was brought to here. And these are again bone and shell object. You can see the carving on one antler, beautiful carving. It was painted also, and these are the inlay pieces for decoration. These are made of shell. Then the pottery, the Hadappans were using a very beautiful pottery type, well painted, and they are also reflect upon the phases chronologically. They belongs to different phases, And so also a progressive change, development also, use of the clay and painting also, and their rim also. They reflect actually what was the use of these ceramics, these pottery, and they also reflect on the prosperity of the people. And there were a variety of the such pot. These are very few representative I am showing here. And this was the town which we excavated and then reconstructed, that this could have been the planning of the town. We exposed all the corners of the town, got all the evidence of the water bodies, also the street, some of the houses along the street, and many more things from this. And that's why this, it's very beautifully done city. And the water body are put on the southern side of the town, because the slope was from the north east to south west. That's why the water is flowing from the northeast to southwest. Southwest is the lowest contour of the city, and then it was going, the wastewater was actually allowed to outside of this fortification. There was a huge natural reservoir, and that was collected there for the irrigation purpose. This is the last, and this art was very prominent in Kutch region before 2001 earthquake, and this tradition has been lost now, because now they are using all the new medium for the construction of the building, using the cement bricks, and this all clay and this mirror work that has been lost now. Thank you.